Hello, good evening. It's 4 p.m. here in Bangalore. Welcome, and very happy to have you all with us today for a talk and Q&A session. Sorry, there was a slight delay. We were late by 5 minutes. My name is Rajgopal, and we have Dr. Indira to talk about the MA education program and at Azim Premji University with a focus on the curriculum and pedagogy specialization. And I will also answer any of the questions that you may have. I'm seeing the questions coming in. But before we start answering the questions, let me first introduce Indira. Before moving to the university, Indira served as a member of the Academics and Pedagogy group of Azim Premji Foundation. And she headed the teacher preparation unit. It was around the area of curriculum development, the implementation of elementary teacher education programs in the states where we were working. At the university, Indira anchors the curriculum and pedagogy specialization, and she teaches curriculum studies, teacher professional development, sociology of education. So these are the courses that she teaches at the university. She comes with a teaching background, so she has started a career as a science teacher, and probably that, there were a lot of questions to be answered, and that probably led her to found the Pune Trust, which is a non-profit trust, which manages the Pune Learning Center here in Bangalore. She's also actively engaged with the Pune Trust. We'll talk about that also during the talk, Indira, if you
Sure.
can.
Yeah.
Right. So, Indira, I will now request you to give a brief introduction about the topic, the MA education program, and how the specialization is aligned in the MA education program before we start answering those questions.
Sure.
Over to you.
So when the university started, we started Azim Premji University started, as many of you might be aware, with the very clear idea of working in the social sector. I think we all are aware of the many areas in the country which need to be worked and which we need to address. Issues about equity, issues about justice, issues about reach of education for all people, to strengthen democracy, justice, and also sustainability. So two MA programs are offered in the university. One of them is an MA in education. Now, usually when people think of education and a program in education, people are more familiar with some sort of teacher training program. But the MA program in education is more like a liberal studies program in the area of education. Education is so important for all of us. I think it merits a sort of study focused on the various issues surrounding education. Why do we want to educate? What are the ways in which we educate? What are the aims of educating? How do different members of society think about education, need education? What is the programs and policies around education? A whole range of things, including historically also we need to understand how this mass education came into the country. All of this. All with the hope of improving education, improving the reach of education. So that's broadly the vision of the MA education program. Now, within the program, there are a number of specializations. Education, as you can see, is a very vast area of human endeavor, right? So one of the first specializations that was started under the MA education was the specialization in curriculum and pedagogy. Now, in some ways, I think it's common sense, and curriculum and pedagogy are at the center of education. Curriculum basically means what is it, what are the things that we want to educate about, and pedagogy is the process, the teaching that we will use in order to pass on these things that we consider important. So curriculum and pedagogy specialization is created broadly to examine more deeply the questions of curriculum, how we can structure it, as well as how it can be taught. So that's the brief
Fantastic.
summary. Yeah.
Perfect. Perfect. Thank you. So I can see some questions coming in. It's not related to the specialization
Sure.
because if you're asking about when the classes will start for the next academic year, it's going to be, I mean, it's going to be July, early July, right? And yeah, I think this we will take. Is it asking about how is the MA education program structured
Uh,
before they get into the specialization is an option available when in the second year.
yes.
In second,
In the third
the
semester.
third semester.
Correct.
So the first two semester is more about giving them foundation. I think that's what Vikas is asking.
Okay.
How is the program structure?
Yeah.
Could briefly talk about
Sure.
that.
So it's a 2-year, 4-semester program. The first 2 semesters, um, you will do what are called as compulsory core courses, all of which are considered to be foundational to develop a strong base on which we can build the further understanding about issues related to education. In the third and fourth semester, students are offered a range of electives. Now, students can choose within those electives, and we will guide you. If you want to specialize, what are the electives which you need to take in order to specialize in particular. I mean, curriculum and pedagogy is only one specialization. There is school leadership and management, there is early childhood education, and like that. So, we will guide you in the third and fourth semester to choose according to your interests and keeping your future career in mind. I hope that answers.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
That's fine. There was one question that we have received offline. Somebody was asking whether the focus of specialization is in context of primary or secondary. Uh, if you could just talk about that.
Yeah, that's a very good question. Someone who I think has looked at programs of education. Now, the M.Ed, now this is a MA in education. The M.Ed, which is a different program of studies, actually suggests that the program B's offers students specialization according to the levels in school, that is primary, and then secondary, and then senior secondary. But this being a liberal arts program, we do not bifurcate the program according to the levels, according to the school levels, but more according to the subject areas like curriculum and pedagogy, or early childhood education, of course, is stage specific. It does look at the education of very young children before they enter formal schooling. Yeah. But school leadership and management again is a broad one. Yeah.
Perfect. I'm seeing a lot of questions coming around career scope and placements, but I will answer, but I will take that later towards the end. We have other things to cover now. Indira, when maybe I'm asking as a layperson, right? So how do we differentiate? I mean, people use these words like curriculum, syllabus, textbook, quite interchangeably in conversations. How do you really define these words?
Well, these are some things they will, students will discuss, and we will discuss quite deeply within the program. But you asked me for a brief thing. Well, textbooks are the easiest to understand. Textbooks are only a sort of means, or if you like, a tool by which we can transact or teach. They're supposed to help the teacher to teach the content. So that the textbook is not necessarily the curriculum, although it has to reflect, and it has to be in line with the curriculum. Okay. But the same curriculum, we already know different publishers will have different textbooks, and teachers will prefer one or the other. So textbook is only a means to the end goal that we want. Now, curriculum and syllabus are somewhat interchangeable and overlapping words, but curriculum is a broader thing. We are looking at what is it that we want to achieve through education. And therefore, one thinks about many different aspects,
Right.
what should be taught to children, how can it be sequenced,
Mm-hmm.
and how it should be, generally what is the way in which we should proceed in the manner, within the schools, right?
Okay.
Now, syllabus is similar to curriculum, but usually syllabus refers to something which will be examined, right?
Examine.
Yeah,
Okay.
examined.
Okay.
Yeah. So most one that is one of the ways in which we understand syllabus. Although the one of the ex-directors of NCRT said syllabus should also talk about the method of teaching. It should not only cover the areas that are supposed to be examined. It
Right.
should also talk about the method of teaching, right? So I hope to some
Fair
extent
enough.
I
Fair enough.
have clarified.
Yeah. Yeah. So curriculum, can you say all the schools can
Yeah.
be should follow the national curricular framework set out by
Yeah. So you have brought in one more word,
yeah
which is framework.
framework. Yeah.
Now, see, in our country, we have a central education as a subject matter is both a matter for the central government as well as
The
the
state.
state government.
That's correct.
Technically, it is something that is supposed to be on the concurrent list. That is what one says. So, but at the same time, because we are one country,
Mm-hmm.
it is important that we have a common core or a framework.
Mm-hmm.
The different states can then, using the framework, develop their own state-specific curriculum.
Right.
In
Okay.
fact, there is some suggestion to even develop district-specific curriculum.
Oh.
But all of it should fit into the same broad curriculum. You cannot have some district which say, I will decide not to teach mathematics, for example.
Mhm.
Mathematics is important for every child.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Okay.
And also, there is an understanding at what level mathematics should be taught to a 5-year-old, to a 10-year-old, and so on. So, this guideline is given by the central body. It is developed by the NCRT, it is approved by another body. And states are not bound by it, but they have to generally follow the guidelines, right? And develop the more detailed curriculum in terms
Got
of
it.
what exactly, and some specific things they might want to include, and so on.
Perfect.
And
Perfect.
yeah, it's also important to understand that all curriculum are supposed to be in line with the Constitution of India.
In line with the Constitution
of India, because
where it talks about the aims of education.
yeah, as a country, we are a secular country, and therefore a curriculum should also reflect this ethos of our
Right.
country.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Now that more or less answers the idea of curriculum. When you say pedagogy,
Yeah.
so is pedagogy only referring to the method of teaching,
Mhm.
or is it how do you, as an academician, how do you?
Yeah. So, these are subjects we give semester-long
Correct.
courses about.
Okay.
So, see, when the word goji comes, I think it is referred to a science, right? Biology.
Yeah.
So, pedagogy is supposed to be referring to the, although it's difficult to call teaching a science, there is a debate around it, but to, develop a understanding about teaching, that is
Right.
pedagogy, right? Methods are part of it, but teaching cannot be reduced only to methods. There are many aspects in teaching that we have to consider. Yeah. So pedagogy refers to the knowledge about teaching.
Knowledge about teaching.
Yeah.
Right. Let me see. A lot of questions coming in. This is interesting. So I'm about to ask. I'll take this question from Satish.
Mhm.
Uh, the field element. How much of field element do we have in the education program, and particularly in the specialization?
Yeah. Briefly, I think there is quite a good amount of field element throughout the program. The reason is that we feel theory and practice should go together. You should be able to see what you study about in the classroom, how it is happening in the real life situation.
Mhm.
Similarly, what is happening in the real life situation, you should bring it into the classroom so that we can all think about it, as a problem, as an experience, and so on. So right from the first semester, students have to kinds of engagement with the world outside the classroom. One is a weekly engagement, which is called as a practicum. So students, in connection with different courses, will go to schools. The university will make all these arrangements for the students. So that is a practicum that happens throughout the semester. In addition to that, in the middle of the semester, usually students go for 2 weeks. I'm giving a rough picture. Every semester, more or less, students go for a field-based placement for 2 weeks at least. Over and above that, between the semester breaks, students, sometimes there is a chance some students voluntarily want to go for internship, but at the end of the third semester, between the third and the fourth semester, for education students, there is a intensive 6 weeks internship that students have to go. So they have to get placed in a particular organization and carry out an internship project, which we will help them with both the placement and the project. So that's a fairly intense field.
Thank you. Thanks, Indira. Hope, Satish, that answers your question of on field element. I'll take the next question. I'm seeing a lot of. I'll definitely answer those questions on careers and placements.
Yes,
but
it's important.
Yeah, it is very important. So this question is interesting. Does it train the students to assist in curricular planning?
Very much.
And curriculum material development is probably the question. So Sridevi, we'll take your question and other levels of school leadership rather than becoming just classroom teachers. So I think you might have missed the beginning. She
Good
said
question.
It's a good question.
Yeah.
Over to you, Indira.
Yeah. So as I was explaining a little bit earlier, this program is not like a B.Ed. It is not actually aiming to train teachers. Although many of our students do, get so interested in the work of education, they want to have the experience of teaching. And I myself always promote that because I think the more good teachers we have, the better. But having said that, this program actually wants the students to think about many issues around education. Curriculum planning, curriculum development is both a compulsory course. In the second semester, students do a compulsory course on curriculum studies. And then if they take the curriculum and pedagogy, they have a lot of option to think about planning curriculum in specific subjects.
Right, okay.
They can choose electives on curricular material development, which helps the students to design and develop materials which will help in classroom teaching. A new course is now being conceived on understanding textbooks because we feel we have to give serious thought to how a textbook is prepared, what is a good textbook, how can we critique the textbook, and so on and so forth. So there is a plenty of scope to do curriculum design and development. Yeah.
Thank you. I hope that answers your question, Sridevi. We will take. I think we'll talk about a little bit about placements also now. This is from Shailendra, right? Talking about there are many questions. I'll probably try to answer around. So, where do you see what are the possible career options for students who specialize in curriculum and pedagogy? But we have now around 3 batches of students who have graduated, and another batch graduating in May. So, Indira.
I don't get tired of saying this. I think curriculum and pedagogy is really at the heart of education. Yeah, it's like saying a medical doctor. You will see cardiologists are people who are highly regarded. I'm not saying other specialists are not. So similarly, curriculum and pedagogy is, I think, a area of specialization which will help you work in a number of education related careers once you finish the course. I have to be honest and say that in education, I think the specializations are not regarded the same way as they are in medicine. So we still have career options which are generalist, right?
Yeah.
But students who've done curriculum and pedagogy sometimes opt for teaching, or they become coordinators, or they even work with teachers.
Okay.
Yeah, teachers at a particular level who may need support in terms of how they can go about their teaching, how they can develop interesting material. So in a way, broadly, it's called like teacher training. Yeah. Uh, and also they can go on to develop content. So I have some students who have joined, companies which now there is a lot of content that is available on the electronic ICT related. Um, so people are actually are asking our students to work on content because they understand curriculum. They understand how to break it up and develop material. Although I think we don't give so much emphasis on ICT, but I think it certainly helps students to join those kind of organizations. Yeah.
But when you say preparing material, I mean, there's an element of assessment also comes into play. Assessment.
Thanks for pointing it out. Assessment is a very important course under curriculum and pedagogy. See, when we teach, we already have a goal in mind, and in order to know whether our teaching is working or not, you have to have a good method of assessment. Yeah.
I'm glad that you said you want to evaluate whether a teaching is working or not, rather than putting the onus on the great.
Sure.
Okay.
Yeah, that's how we all look at it actually, in some ways. So yes, I think assessment is built into a curriculum, and one of the things we know that sometimes if you don't give enough attention, it's the last exam that begins to dictate what happens beforehand. It should really be the other way around. Yeah, you should assess what you are interested that your child should learn, not you should teach what is being assessed. These are some of the discussions that we have in class. We have very lively debates and discussions in the class.
Exactly. So hope that answers. We'll come back again if you have questions on careers, but it's mostly around with helping the teachers. Could we become a teacher? Curriculum.
Yes, work in school as curriculum coordinators, as developing curriculum. Developing curriculum doesn't mean do the work of NCRT, but given all the things that you're supposed to teach, how do you teach them? What is the support material? Do I what is the method I use to teach? What is the activities students to do? This is actually curriculum development, and there is an immense scope for this work. I think the field is just developing in our country. Yeah, I'm quite excited actually.
Very good, very good. I was just thinking before I take the next question. Now you have seen 3 batches of students graduating. Have they come back and shared their experiences while working as to how they're able to relate with what they've gathered here?
Yeah.
If you could share some experiences.
Yeah, I mean, they write, they phone.
Oh, okay.
Yes, they will, chat. So students, I think I must say that in our university, we develop good relationship with the students, but they also are engaged with their work, and they ask. For example, some student, will suddenly call up and say, "Ma'am, at the time you were teaching, I wasn't paying so much attention, but now in the field, what you said really is coming back to my mind." They will ask us back for references.
Oh, that's good.
Yes,
okay.
yes. They in fact share a lot of material because it's not for someone who's actually working in the field in some remote area, they don't have access to good material. So our students are passing on their
That's
material good. Sometimes they simplify the material and pass it on to either their colleagues or to their trainees. So
yes, so a lot of connect between the alumni and the students who are presently here is
fantastic. And they come back, they use the library. Sometimes they ask us specific things that we can help them with. So
right. Silisha, we're not talking about the public policy program today, but if you can drop us an email, I'll answer that later, or we will have a specific session to talk about public policy. Not today. Ankur, I'm going to answer your questions quickly. You have typed in a lot of questions, Ankur Pratap Singh. Yes, we have a dedicated placement cell, and the placement cell is in fact indeed run by the students. So they do get in touch with organizations, educational institutions, invite them onto the campus for having a chat with our students, and then an offer. There are some cases where our students do travel if the organization cannot come all the way to Bangalore, but we have a quite a dedicated placement cell, right? No, there is no semester abroad program for this course. The entire program is with India as the context. Indira, over to you.
Yeah, just briefly.
Yes.
That is the vision of this university. We want to make a change in our society, in our country. So, and the problems are here, the solutions are also here. That is what we believe in.
Great, great. But interestingly, we do have that. We have a comparative history that we do.
Oh yes.
Yeah.
I mean, we do. We can learn from others.
Correct.
And maybe in time, if we feel it is worth learning from somewhere else by going there, it might happen. But not with the idea of
Right. Okay, Ankur. Let me see what your next question is. So that field practice we did cover. Maybe if you joined late, there's a strong why the I was when I came in here first when I was comparing the program is not called education studies, right? Because it's MA in education. With a lot of field component. I would repeat that if you go back and listen to the video later on, that should answer. We have weekly practicums, that is 1 day in a week reserved for you to quickly connect with the theory that you're learning in the classroom, plus longer engagements in the field ranging from 2 weeks, 4 weeks, or 6 weeks. Next question. This probably we would take Sirisha's. The difference between, Indira said that in the beginning, but people are joined in late. I can see some couple of viewers who have joined in a bit late. Difference between MA education program and the M.Ed program. We were discussing while driving.
Yeah.
Clearly, the intake for the eligibility to do an M.Ed is a B.Ed.
Correct.
But for an MA education program, it's any undergraduate degree.
Correct.
Somebody who wants to deeply engage with the system. But over to you too.
Yeah. I think partly Rajgopal has explained. They intend, I mean, the purpose of the two programs are different. Like I said, the MA education is to develop a broad thinking around education. It's like an MA in history, right? So the idea of an MA in history is to understand history. So an MA in education is to understand education, right? That's one answer. The second is the M.Ed is a professional in some sense. It is if someone who's already teaching and has a teaching degree like a B.Ed, and they want to develop into people who will teach teachers, right? They would, it's a more narrow and more specific program, the M.Ed, right? Specifically for working with teacher training, you can say. That's
right, right.
Whereas an MA education is much broader in its scope, and it allows you to go deeply into education. Some of our students are very interested in research. I think a few of them have joined PhD programs, inquiring into issues in education. Yeah.
When we talk about, I think, the career opportunities, I think that's an important element to explain where the scope of further studying after the MA education program. So hope that answers your question. Hari, I'll take your next question so that, but I saw something interesting you were asking. The question is how the specialization, I think we will not talk about the specialization, the education program help us to give good knowledge, to give a good professional person. So is it attempting to create an education professional? Is the question I was asking.
Yes. Yeah.
So,
I teach a course on the professional development of teachers, and so when we say professional, we mean somebody who has a good amount of expertise, somebody who has a service ideal. They are not doing it only for money. So they need expertise, they need a service ideal, they need a set of professional ethics. These are the three things that I would say very simply, qualifies you to be a professional. And that is the hope that we, give you all this. So as you study, we definitely think that you're going out with considerable amount of expertise. Although education is such a vast and complex field, at the end of 2 years, as professors in education who have worked for a number of years, we feel obviously there is a limit to what we can leave you with 2 years. But I think compared to the lay people, you definitely go out with a lot more knowledge. And I am happy to say that our students are now in demand. I'm not embarrassed to say this. This is true.
And if we
Yeah,
look at
yeah,
the placements of
yeah,
this year, yeah,
yeah.
we can confidently say that. Okay, Hari, hope that answers your question. I'll take Satish. Satish has been asking this. He asked some time back whether the field work, the practicum, is it around primary school or is it in high school? I think that's what his question is.
Yeah, it is. I mean, it's not fixed. It depends on A, your comfort level, and B, your choice of electives at a particular stage. Now, in the first 2 semesters where you are doing compulsory courses, I think the course instructor will decide. They might want you to do an observation of children, say in third standard, in fifth standard, and in eighth standard. So accordingly, you will go to the
Right.
school. Now, in the third semester, where every student has to take a pedagogy course, regardless of specialization,
Correct.
then we are sensitive to your comfort level. So we will try to match it. If you say that I want to learn, take math pedagogy, but I'm only comfortable teaching, say, fifth standard students math, that match can be done. We are quite flexible.
Thank you. Thanks, Indira. Satish, hope that answers your question. Let me pick up some questions on Prashant. I didn't quite understand your question. You're asking the opportunities in social sector. There are plenty of opportunities.
Yeah.
And that's the idea of this university is to create youngsters who can work in education development on the area of policy and governance. Plenty. But it does require academic engagement, theoretical engagement with practice element before you really start intervening, right? Oh, this is a broad question. Sirisha, I see two questions that you're asking. As one is the difference between education and M.Ed public policy. So as a university, we have chosen to offer program in these three broad themes of education, development, policy, public policy and governance, but quite different. Public policy is not, it's looking at the policy formation, the constitutional institutions that are there for policy creation, how that works, or in turn, how government works. Not looking at one area of either education development, but the education program is solely looking at education.
Yeah.
It will have courses on education policies and school systems,
Correct.
but the public policy is looking at overall, not focusing only on education. Hope that answers your question. Next question, I'll take Sirisha's question again. She'll have to repeat now what she said. Other than teaching, what else can an MA education graduate can go for? She said it is not a teacher preparatory program as such, the MA education program, but we have seen our students being in schools, but
Yeah. So one major area which our students go into is in sort of positions of leadership, that is working with teachers or working with school systems in order to help them develop, again, as I said, curriculum, for example, and help the teachers carry out their work. Sometimes they directly go into teacher training.
right.
Yeah. Not in the formal programs like B.Ed, M.Ed, you cannot go and be a lecturer there.
Mhm.
And they may not even want to do that. Yeah.
Mm.
So they want to actually help organizations which are on the ground, which some of the grassroots organizations have a number of schools in, areas which are, let us say, working with marginalized children, and how to, make the curriculum available and develop it. So that's one kind of work. The other is to develop materials, right? Teaching learning materials at different levels. The third, as I said, is to do content development, which gets then uploaded in onto computers and media devices. So these are some of the broad areas that they do.
And there are some roles where they end up as program officers, program
Yeah, program coordinators.
coordinators.
Yeah, so which basically means they will work with teachers across schools, for
Right,
example.
okay.
Yeah, so that,
Right.
or some NGOs are working in government schools, and government schools either they will work with the principals of government
Right,
schools,
right,
or they will
okay.
work with teachers of the government schools. So it is, cross cutting. Yeah, yeah.
Thank you. Great. So we got 15 minutes to go. Thank you very much for this questions. It's keep coming really, really good. Thanks to you. If you still have questions to ask, do type in that ask a new question. There's a green color button that you'll see on your right bottom of the screen. Type in. We will answer those. Shailendra, is a tough question. We're not answering what is a human right. Probably we will discuss. We will have a debate here.
What
When
is a
you
human right?
what is human rights?
Yeah. I have colleagues in the law and governance
Correct.
team who
Yeah,
will
yeah.
be much better qualified to answer that.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Although education is a human right.
Completely
Yeah.
completely agree. This is when a difference of MA education as compared to other universities. As that's what Vikas would like to know. And okay, I'll answer that. And this the next question is around field practice. Can you go to his place to do field practice, or are we going to push them into the two, the two questions that Vikas is asking? So the difference in MA education, I mean, it's definitely not education studies. There's a lot of
Yeah.
practice element
Yeah.
that we have added.
Yeah. Well, not very many universities offer MA education. Some of the good MA education programs are offered, say, at TISS, both Mumbai and Hyderabad. The Mumbai MA education, actually, many of us were involved in developing that program as well, because, frankly, we are a bunch of people who are really concerned about education.
Absolutely.
So we will create it, and we'll help people create good education programs. So the TISS Mumbai program is actually not a face-to-face program. It is what is called as a dual mode. So students every semester come there in the vacation time for 3 weeks, attend classes, and then all the reading and submission of assignments happens over the computer.
Okay.
The Hyderabad program is, I think, similar to ours. Having said that, I think in terms of structure and the kind of courses that we offer, we may be similar, as in, we will, all MA education programs will deal with philosophy of education, sociology of education, either educational psychology or child development and human learning. These kind of foundational courses may be similar. I think what is unique about this university is the very strong commitment of all my colleagues. I'm happy to also be with such a set of people who are so committed to education. Yeah.
Another thing that I've observed is here we have a mix of people with that strong academic background,
Yeah.
plus people are practitioners who have
Yeah.
practiced on the field. So
Yeah.
I will talk about that in the last 5 minutes
Okay.
about Purna a bit. We'll talk about that also. Right. Hope. Thank you, Indira. I'll take two quick one, very similar questions. Vikas asking, can we go to their own place for the field work. Uh, the next question, and similar question, Ajit Kumar asking, where do I go for field work? So there's two questions here asking. So practicums, the weekly practicums, because it has to happen around Bangalore.
In Bangalore.
In Bangalore, you can go 10 to 15 kilometers radius. Some schools you don't have to go around. There's a field practice team who have spoken to the schools where you can go. But the field work, they have a choice of going to the place of their.
Yes.
Correct. They can, based on the language may become a barrier. So it's some.
Yeah. See, the field work it's serious. So field work requires the student to develop a proposal. And the proposal is guided or supervised by a faculty, by one of the professors. And if the proposal is convinces the faculty member that you are interested in working in one particular area related to the courses in your own village or town, sure, I don't. Nobody will stand in your way.
Perfect. Anusha, I'll take Anusha's question. Sorry, Anusha, I kept you waiting. Question is about on what basis are the Karnataka students selected for ME education or ME development? Uh, on what they all appear for that entrance examination, go through the selection process. We do have 25% of seats reserved for students from the state of Karnataka. Uh, that's it. There's no different criteria in terms of they go to they write the same entrance test, the interview selection material, the method is the same.
And there's a ranking.
There's a ranking, and that's it. That's it. If you have further questions, I'll be very, very happy to answer. This we answered, Ankur, about MA Public Policy and Education, so there's not much of a similarity. Yeah, before we take the next, we have only 10 more minutes to go. The questions can keep coming. Indira, if you could quickly talk about the Purna Learning Center. I think somebody had asked that question, whether that could be that way of learning and teaching in school is can it be brought to the mainstream education system in the country?
In the way we
correct.
teach at Purna?
Yeah. Also, what has been attempted there?
Yeah. Well, I think not myself alone, but many of us worry about the kind of education that children receive, and later as well, which is seeming to be in some ways not addressing the interests of the individual. That's one. And how far it addresses the overall needs of society is something we can debate about. Having said that, many of us, and I strongly feel that education should be something which is exciting to the learner. The learner must enjoy, and by enjoying, I just don't mean it's entertainment. I think all of us enjoy when we learn something that it touches us, that, or when we learn something that is new, or when an idea is so new. We also enjoy learning when it helps us to make a change in the world, right? Whether it is learning to grow a plant or teach a child, that gives us some inner happiness. And I experience that. I mean, unlike many of my colleagues, I have been a teacher in school for many years, and it is by various circumstances that I have come to the university, and I really enjoy this talking about teaching and sharing my experiences. And then you read some theory about teaching and it makes sense, or sometimes it doesn't make sense, and that is what I tell my children. My students in the MA program, you may read a theory, it may be some very well-known person, but you have to decide whether it is making sense or not, based on your experience. Yeah, it's not, something that you have to accept as some unquestioned thing. That's,
So
yeah. So yeah, to get back to the question of whether something similar. Well, as it happens, just last week, some of my MA students had visited Purna School. They've taken my permission. They said, "Ma'am, we want to go and
okay.
see this place." And then they asked me a question, which is they so in school they have an open period. It's called an open or activity period, where children choose out of 3 4 activities: clay work, or dancing and theater, or library. Children get to choose. It's
Right.
not class based. They can choose vertical
What?
maybe. So this student came and asked me, did the idea of open course in the university come from your school? Frankly, I don't think it was a direct thing, but it just happens that's an interesting idea to give students the space to explore.
Around
Different
arts, fine art,
dimensions.
different
Yeah,
dimensions.
yeah,
Yeah. That's
yeah.
interesting. I think, I mean, somebody had asked the difference between the programs here. So the idea of open courses, I think, is quite different from what we've seen in other PG programs across the country.
Yeah.
Whether this element of spending 2 hours in a week in an area of, that's the idea of open courses, which Indira was referring is, apart from this is part of the curriculum. You spend 2 hours in a week in the areas of fine arts or music or theater. Thank you. Thanks, Indira. I'm seeing a lot of questions coming in. We got 5 more minutes to go. I'll take the questions. Because don't worry about the admission time, the documents that you need to bring in. We will get in touch with you with a detailed email. Okay. The very minimum documentation, your degree certificate, completion of degree or mark sheets. It's not much. We will get in touch with you. Uh, how important is the use of ICT in a classroom? I think, yeah, that's the thing. And the related questions from Sri Devi: is there one best pedagogy for a particular concept in the subject, say physics or okay? So both related, because we do read about everything digitizing is probably the answer for everything. Indira's your views.
Yeah, wonderful questions, really. Let me take the second one first.
Yeah.
I do believe that there is no magic bullet in pedagogy.
Right.
There is no one, perfect method. If it was, it is so easy. Yeah. What's the, you'll tell everybody this is the best thing and it works. But unfortunately, different subjects may, and different topics within the same subject may require different approaches to teaching. Then the children and the context and the kind of classroom you are in will also require you to adapt.
Right.
So in a nutshell, what I feel is, rather than being stuck with methods, if you understand, say, psychology, if you understand the subject deeply, if you understand the context, you will develop, and of course, some practice and some skills. A good teacher will be able to adapt and work in the situation, right? It doesn't work according to a formula. It works by thinking about it, by reflecting. So in a way, we talk of teachers being reflective practitioners who think about their work. That's the first question. Regarding ICT use, while I'm ambivalent, I think it can be a good tool in the hands of a school teacher. But the tool must be understood, just like we feel even the textbook needs to be understood. How much of the textbook? Sadly, many of our teachers still teach the textbook in a very mechanical way. But the textbook is only part of the way you teach. It should not dictate how you teach.
Right,
That's
right.
one. Similarly with ICT, right? ICT is a powerful medium. You can show children videos, you can show children things that it's difficult to show in a textbook. But at the same time, one must understand its limitations, and one must use the tool must be something which is in the hands of the teacher.
something that will enhance the teacher.
Yeah,
Okay,
the teacher.
yeah. So
Yeah,
it's more to augment what
yeah,
the
the
teacher
teacher
is
can
already.
decide,
Yeah.
and today this makes good sense. For 5 minutes, I will use it, and so on. The last thing I want to say is that I myself, in my MA classes, uh, and I'm famous for this in the university, I tell them, you do not open your computers in my classroom. And the reason is simple. I think human communication, face to face communication, is precious.
Yeah.
And I'm sitting there, you are all in the classroom. Why would you look at the computer? Let's talk with each other. That's
Fantastic.
yeah. On the other hand, when you're in the, when you're not in the classroom, there's a lot of material that you can access, that you can use. You can submit your assignments on through email or through Moodle. So that's what I meant. Yeah.
Thank you. Right. So let me take. I'm seeing a lot of questions. I know we started 5 minutes late, so Indira, that's
Sure.
okay. We'll just go in. Uh, Avinash, I'm taking your question. Is fieldwork practice with only Azim Premji University or other NGO that's working in the education field? Is it only with?
No, definitely with a lot of NGOs.
Yeah.
You do visit Azim Premji Foundation sites because they are working in many areas. But in the second year onwards, students visit many different NGOs, different schools. They can choose as faculty members. We help them. So
Absolutely. And if there are NGOs that you would like to intern with or do your field internship, that's
most
also possible.
welcome.
Most welcome.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
yeah.
Most welcome. Right. Curriculum studies. Is this course curriculum suitable for somebody who has done engineering? That's Ankur's question. So, how does we do see a lot of engineers coming and doing so? What are your views and how do they? I mean, is the idea of giving the foundation courses?
Yeah. So curriculum studies is a foundation course. We
I think
obviously have to cater to.
I think this question is that whether the overall course curriculum, how do the engineers
take to
take
it.
to it?
Yeah. So, okay, let me answer it at a particular level. One is we are conscious of the fact that this MA education is open to any student from a wide range of backgrounds. And we are also conscious of the fact for many students, some of these areas, sociology or curriculum, may be very new, even philosophy, are very new areas of studies. And we make all the attempt to make it interesting for you, to make you, engage with the class. And students, some students have told me their life has changed.
Right.
So, yes, I mean, as an engineer, be prepared for your life to change. That's what I would say. Yeah.
But one engineer was telling me his life was all around. Everything was formula based.
Yeah.
We thought, it's like A plus B whole square.
Yeah.
But here, the social sciences,
Yeah.
it need not be. So that's the biggest the shift that
Exactly.
they have to make and while doing this kind of a program, right? Could I take the because we will have a separate session to talk about student life here at the campus. Okay, it's a lot of fun to be. It's not just academics. We just saw a University Premier League tennis cricket tournament happening while we were coming this side. So we will have a separate one. We will have students coming and interacting with you because you won't believe what we are saying. Don't worry about the degree certificates. We will or what you need to bring when you get selected. We'll get back to you on that. You will have time till September 2016 if selected to submit your degree certificates. We will just be okay even by seeing your mark sheets for the time being. This is interesting. Vikas's question before I go to the next one. I mean, in the classroom discussions, can it be in any other language other than English? Can it be in Hindi also? So,
yeah. This is something we have debated in the university. I think many of us are comfortable speaking uh, Hindi, sometimes Kannada, and definitely you can, as students, can speak in Hindi or Kannada or any language that they feel comfortable. Of course, we can ask someone else in the class to translate, so it is not even necessary. If someone asks me a question in Oriya and I don't know Oriya, Someone else may be able to translate from Oriya to uh, English, which is all right. But having said that, the course, the MA program as it presently is an English medium program. Your readings come to you in English. You're expected to submit your assignments in English, the written assignments in English. But the university also provides a lot of help to students in terms of academic support. There are writing supports, there are other ways in which um, one helps students with. I think we are humble enough to say that it is our limitation that we can offer this program at the moment in English. It is therefore up to us to make sure that no student suffers because their own English background is whatever
True,
it is.
true,
Yeah,
true, true.
yeah. So
Absolutely,
that's the
absolutely,
attitude.
absolutely. So I like this question because some praise coming from me. So like it's asking, is all faculty friendly like me? Right. But probably I'm imitating the way the faculties are here. Okay, Ankur, they're probably much more friendlier than I am. We do have. I've seen. I mean, faculty have got specific office hours or contact hours where you can walk into their cubicle and ask. And I've seen even if they're given their time as Monday 2 to 5, they will walk in even on a Wednesday morning. So yes. The classrooms are quite interactive. There's a lot of when they will uh, support you asking questions. That's where the learning is. It's not just one way.
Definitely not.
Uh, what else? I think we'll close now. I just see the final questions. What do we do in field work? Teach or do some more things? So, because that's a good question. There's a research element also in in some of the field work.
Yeah.
If you could just brief about that.
So actually, your teaching for fieldwork is quite limited. It comes, in curriculum and pedagogy, of course, during your internship, you are supposed to teach for 3 weeks roughly, and that's very important, reflective teaching. And but having said that, fieldwork can involve data collection, interviews, gathering, really inquiring into some issue in education, and you develop a proposal on the basis of that. So, teaching and research broadly.
Thanks. Next question, because we have spoke a lot about the career opportunities after MA education. You would like to go back and see the video again. It could be in educational institutions, it could be in social sector organizations, NGOs working in the area of education, who overall understands education. It's not a teacher preparatory program. Plenty. Spend some time going through our placements link on the university website. Lingraj, interesting question. This will probably take up. I requested Rohit ji to come and speak. Pedagogy of for philosophy curriculum. So that's his question. Is when you're teaching philosophy, is there a particular pedagogy?
I think philosophy professors are very interactive and ask questions that require you to think. Suddenly, they ask. It looks like a very fundamental question or very something we've taken for granted. When you start thinking, it opens up a whole deep area. Um, so, in general, all professors are friendly. Yeah, and but the main pedagogy in philosophy is interaction because and maybe reading and writing. That's the broad thing. There will be plenty of discussions, but discussions become deep and rich if you are able to read and think about things.
Thank you. Thanks, Indira. Hari, this last question interesting. The question is, how is it important to include a student's culture into the curriculum? So the thing is, we was mostly asking about students who come from a tribal background. How do we include their culture into the curriculum?
It's really an interesting question. Well, if you're asking at the school level, I think the school textbooks ideally should reflect, or the school teaching should have place for each child to be true to their culture and acknowledge that. But at the university level, I am not sure how I can answer this question. I mean,
This could be a
yeah, but the university itself has a academic culture, which means that there is a considerable jump in the amount of reading and writing and discussions and work that you have to do, right?
absolutely.
Apart from that, I think we value your culture when we are discussing specifically issues around sociology or influence of society. We welcome you to bring in your experiences and we'll talk about it in
Absolutely.
respectful ways. We
Absolutely.
respect everybody's culture here. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you, Ankur. Ankur is also quite
Welcome.
pleased with what he has learned. So,
Yeah.
thanks for the session, Indira.
You're welcome.
Wonderful. Thanks for all the questions that came in. Thanks for watching. People who took time to join this conversation. So, thanks to my team who has been working behind the scenes on the technical side to set up this Google Hangout. If you need to contact us, email us at admissions@apu.edu.in. That is admissions@apu.edu.in. We are both on Facebook and Twitter if you want to know more about our programs, these talks, events when we are organizing. We'll be back again next week. The next week, we're going to continue having a series on MA education, talking about school leadership and management, early childhood education. That's the next week and the week after. Till then, goodbye.
And good luck.
Absolutely, good luck.